Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing fantastic. It is the 4th of November, 2024, and the year is coming to an end. I can't believe it. I mean, here in Singapore, they already put on the Christmas lights in mid-October. So, honestly, I'm already in Christmas mood. All right. Today, we are looking at the European energy markets for the week starting 4th of November, 2024. And my name is Marcello Kolax. I'm the managing director here at Clever Markets, where we help energy traders make better decisions with the help of technical analysis. So, as always, we are starting with a big overview. So, here we are seeing that the TTF and NBP front month, as well as the TTF and NBP front season, German power, and EUAs have all come off quite a bit last week. And that wasn't much of a surprise. So we did see some strong gains like 2 weeks ago. And back here, when we reached the top, we said that the market might be due for a correction. The market might be taking a breather, but this little breather might now be turning into a full-on downside reversal, so a bearish reversal. When will we turn bearish? So all of these charts, I mean, we're all working with the same principles, but the charts are progressed differently. So here, for example, I'm just showing, we'll go into the details later. I'm just showing the big overview for now. So on the TTF, for example, some might choose to put the bearish trigger. I mean, it's always the lower lows and lower highs. Some might choose to put it here. We'll talk about the levels later, but this here is, what is this? 38.08. Others might put it at, what is the low here? 39.09. Same on the NBP. Here, this is pretty clear, yeah. Then here we got a trough, there we got a trough. We got a trough down here for the EUAs, which is near 61.29 and so on. So once we push below these levels, then we are definitely not dealing with a correction anymore. I mean, we are pushed past some of these already. Then we're actually dealing with a full-on down move. Henry Hub is quite interesting. So we did gap higher. Now we are coming down to fill the gap, probably in the 2.3 region. And other than that, we did have API 2 break lower. So we are working on the API contract with a triangle. That usually shows that the market is indecisive. We are pushing into an increasingly tighter range. Last week, we broke higher, but it was a fake out. And then, bam, we are down now. So here, API 2 is looking fairly bearish to me. JKM is carefully edging lower as well. We are definitely not bullish there anymore. Of course, as always, we'll start with the TTF front month. Hey, I hope you're all enjoying this free weekly market video where I mostly just talk about the TTF. My clients, they do get the full market outlook. They get the TTF, NBP, Brent, carbon, coal, EUAs. We look through the entire week. On top of that, they do get one-on-one access to me. They have access to a dashboard. And overall, this is how I am helping through Clever Markets European energy trading desks. Just send me a DM. Marcello Kolax is my name. And now back to the markets. And here we are seeing that on the weekly chart, of course, we are still bullish as long as we are within the ascending channel. But we are seeing that for some, the 100% target at 44.61 might be considered reached. Of course, we didn't quite get there, but for some, this might be good enough. One interesting factor is that on the daily chart in the channel, we are just smack in the middle of the channel. That is not a good sign for the bulls, but it is definitely not bearish yet. But one thing that I find to be the most important and telling signal for a bearish reversal is usually when the upper end of the channel is no longer hit in this case. And if we are just making a peak without hitting the upper end. So there is a chance for us, for the bulls to be exhausted, for us to push lower even further. So looking at this, so right now, it's only the weekly charts MACD that is still showing bullish momentum, but everything else on the weekly chart and also on the daily chart is showing us bearish dominance. So here we can see that the momentum tools gave an early, like a preliminary bearish signal. Remember, the important signal is always the zero line crossover, but this here is pretty telling as well. You can see last time we got a bearish crossover. It wasn't all that significant, but before that, it kind of was. So this here seems to be a little bit more of a clear break, so I would assume this is a good one. Here we can see that the bearish dominance is a little bit stronger on the DMI, and we are also seeing that the stochastic quite some time ago gave a clear bearish signal. What I find interesting is this little pennant happening on the hourly chart. And pennants, so here's the deal, yeah? Okay, so pennants essentially are mini triangles. And mini triangles, what we want to see with a pennant is that we have a strong preceding down move. Then we have the pennant happening, and that usually continues the down move afterwards. So now here's the thing, yeah? If for traders that are a little bit more careful, you might want they might decide, not trading advice, to wait past the pennant low, the 38.03, when we're actually making lower lows and lower highs. Others might wish to be a little bit earlier. So somewhere around like this area, I chose this here right now, but wherever we break past the pennant support level. So then I didn't put that on the dashboard today yet because it's still pending, but then we could assume that this down leg would be replicated here. And how do we measure that? Well, I measure that with fib extensions. So just give me this and this, and I'll put it, where do we break? Let's say we are breaking at this point here. This is very rough right now. We could move to 35.5 if we replicate this down leg, pennant hesitation, and then we just apply the same length, boom, 35.5. 3, in this case 5, yeah. So this doesn't seem too crazy, I want to say. Now I want to see, okay, so in how far are the other tools confirming or denying this bearish prospect? So we are within this tiny range. We ended last week with a strong red candle, high volume. I don't think that is too important because, I mean, it's the end of the week. It's the last hour of the week, so maybe some people had to close out. The next thing I'm looking at is momentum. So momentum overall has been bearish. You see, we did get a bearish signal on the MACD below 0, and now we're just coming off a little bit. So it doesn't look as bearish anymore. But why is that? Well, it's because we have the pennant, of course. If something happens on the chart, if we have a pattern, then it is reflected in the tools. But overall, still looking pretty bearish. Then I look at the DMI, the Directional Movement Index, and that is showing us that the bears, the DMI minus, is still well above the DMI plus, the green one. So that is showing me bearish dominance. What about this? So what's worrying me is, not worrying, but it's something I'm looking at, is the stochastic. So we did get a bullish signal by moving out of oversold territory. Remember, that is always the signal. So we did get one here, essentially. Then we started seeing that we have like a smaller peak and an even lower peak here, which is then reflected in the MACD doing this sort of thing here. So we've got two peaks at the same height. So that is showing me the market, there isn't much room for gains. We are already topping out here for a second time. So that is showing me there's potential for downside. And with all this together, I get the idea that overall, we are still bearish, but right now, we are hesitating a little bit, which is expected because we are within the pennant. But ultimately, we could probably still push lower. So that's why overall, I am still inclined with the bears to take over. I fully agree with the market sentiment of the week. Then what we also had like last week, so this could then continue the downtrend. We might test the channel support on the daily chart. We might even break lower. So I think that's not too crazy, to be honest.